Hey, beautiful people. It is August 29th, 2013 at 10:36 in the morning. Wow. It's it's really interesting to sense what I'm perceiving right now, and it's like there's just so many different energies going on. I think the last few videos I said it was like a big soup we were in. And me, I'm feeling a bit more um, integrated, I say. My energy is shifted. Um, it is, there's something about the field, and I even watched Daniela mention it in her newest video today, and had not, I had not known she was going to speak about me in her video, so it was interesting to listen to it as I was posting my messages today and hear my name pop up and her visions of what she sees and how it relates to my field as I'm in that field. And so that's really interesting to have confirmations. There's something major that has shifted. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's almost like and I wrote this to Sandra Walter this morning. She had sent me a message saying hi and that she had come off the mountain for just a little while. And as I was describing the energies, it was like for so long we had to be so intense with the light, the push uh, to take this rocket out of the atmosphere and into orbit. And as we're increasing in velocity and still in the atmosphere, there's much resistance to and friction to what's going on. But it feels like after this planetary second Merkaba alignment on the 25th of August, that as we passed through that, it was almost like we got into orbit and our velocity is there, and it's like there's just no friction. It's a smoothing, and with that, the energy that I sense in my field is changing. But I feel and sense and see so much conflict in others who are still playing in the ego levels and trying to be on the exterior of themselves and tell other people who's right and who's wrong and what to do and all that stuff. The war and the conflict in what it's just like what's going on in Syria right now. Um, there's just a lot of conflict within persons um, that has to be resolved before they can advance in their ascension process. And this we all go through that. Every single one of us. Boy, have I had my times. But as I've said before, going through ascension is like a spiritual distillation, and you've got to raise the frequency, to put the heat under that human crude oil that we have been in 3 and 4D, and raise the frequency. Hey Roger, that's my rooster behind me. He's probably hearing me and saying hi. Where are you? But we as we turn up the volume on the frequency, at every different stage within the ascension process, we have to release more negativity, more fears, more anxieties, more training of what allowed us to be in 3D in the first place. 3D was a separation. It It was the polarities and the extremes and the experience of those polarities within the extremes. Going through the ascension process is very much like those extremes also, but it's the bringing back of the polarities back to center. And right now, as many persons who are waking up and realizing that it's about holding higher vibrations, as they move into those higher vibrations, that opposite and equal polarity of the darkness plays out within their field and their life and their being. Some of it has to do with the persons around them, and they're raising their frequency while the other persons around them aren't yet raising their frequency. Some of it has to do with just their views on life. As we go through our ascension process and we expand our being and our frequency, our life and our relations to others change. And sometimes we have to move out of their field so that we can expand at a different rate than they themselves are. It does not mean that we love these persons any less or we won't be with them in the future, but sometimes we just have to go so we can grow. And there's a lot of people doing exactly that. And with the persons really releasing their anxieties, their fear, and their drama, their accusations of each other, and all of the stuff, then we can more readily expand into our ascended beings. And you got to get over the crap. Everybody has got to get over the crap. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are really trying to lead others, to steer others, and then there's persons that are looking for their way out, and they're doing it as followers, because so many of us, whether it's been in religions or having a guru, you always had this person that was out in front of you that supposedly was your leader, and you were their follower. And that time is over, people. Somebody mentioned to me not too long ago about all the people who follow me. I'm not your leader. I'm nobody's leader. I'm going through my ascension process and doing a documentary on my ascension process, and being a way shower. But I'm going through a lot of this blind. Those of us who are really on the leading edge, yes, we have higher spiritual connections. Yes, we have ET help. Yes, we have angelic help, ascended master help from the other side, beyond the veil. But do any of us know really what's going on? No. It's all about expansion of consciousness. When we're creating something brand new, totally brand new, something that has never been done before in this universe, like ascension of the planet at this time in humanity, as in bringing everyone into their ascension process, whether they're going to do it in physical form or they're going to drop body and do it then. It's never been done like we're doing it right now, where there's a large scale of incarnate beings that are transfiguring their physical bodies. That has never been done before, and that group remain on planet. And that's what's so different about what's going on now, and what makes a lot of what we're doing uncertain. There's no guide. The process is just being done right now, and where we go from here all has to do with our personal expansion and our dreams and our desires and what we believe is capable for our futures. And what we believe is capable for our futures is our only limitations. It's just like anything else. You've got to have a dream. You've got to hold the vision for that dream. And you've got to have that focused intent to stay with that vision of that dream. Big, beautiful hawk circling right above me with a buzzard. I don't know if you can see it. The buzzards, two buzzards right there low, and the hawk just above. And so cool, so neat, so beautiful. You hear him? He's saying hi. And he's circling just right, not necessarily directly above me, but right in front of me. Anyway, what we are doing right now is so very new, so very different. There's no guidelines, there's no rules, there's no one to follow. And really, by following anybody else and by trying to mimic another, you're limiting your own potential. And we all have such great potential, and we're all such great artists and such great creators, and that's why we're here on Earth going through this process here and now. And as we go through these gateways and these doorways and our energy increase and our old ways fade away, die off, get completed, we don't live in that life anymore, then what we're changing into, well, we don't really know. It's just we're bringing back those extremes back to the center, reintegrating, and coming up with new dreams, new potentials, with new vibrations to manifest those dreams and potentials. It's a really, really beautiful thing. It truly is. How long it's going to take, I don't know. My message is to hold a very balanced, centered energy at this time. There are some people out there who are purposely trying to knock other persons that are in the higher levels of their ascension process off their kilter. It's interesting to turn off the news and turn off what's going on in the Middle East and in Washington and London and the Vatican and not really pay so much attention to that, the economy and all the struggles everybody are going through, because it's going to be dramatic. But to turn all that off and still have those tests of holding center, and that's all it is. It's tests. We all play into and off of each other in order to increase or advance in our ascension process. We certainly do that. We don't have to play when others wish to be negative. We don't have to play with the trolls and the shills and those persons who are wishing to just put you down and in your place, or to say they know whatever they know, trying to get you to focus on whatever it is that they hold in their reality. We don't have to play with them, and part of our mastery is to explore that path on our own. That's why, as we go through this process, and especially many of the way showers, we usually have to go away from those persons that we love so that we can explore the consciousness and not be so affected by the individuals that we care about and their remaining in their current, or at that time, lifestyle and state of being. And we had to go away so that we could advance more quickly, so we could light the fire under that rocket and take off through the atmosphere and not be tethered to them, or not burn them as we were going through our process. I mean, my experiences and my various stages looked pretty crazy to some of those persons that were around me, because my realizations and my expansions into the consciousness, into the new and higher states of consciousness, into the spirituality, into the invisible world, across the veil, it was so different from that 3-4D that so many of those persons who I was around remained within. And so I look pretty weird and wild to friends and family, and the people around me. And by staying around them, I was in a constant state of feeling their energies and in that sensation of being weird. And anyway, that's a lot of times when people are going through their process, they've got to go and be alone. They've got to they get called as a gatekeeper, called to do vortex or portal activations, or called to go be in solitude, where they can more easily go through their process without having other people influence them and hold them back, or steer and guide them in ways that could be influencing their timelines and their path that they're wishing to create. It would be like that rocket taking off out of the atmosphere and bouncing off some space debris or something up there, and not destroying the rocket, but at least, messing some things up or altering its course, Anyway, it is most interesting, these feelings that I'm feeling right now. The days leading up to 8/25 and that Merkaba, the other end of the Stargate, and I'm not saying we are through the Stargate, but it certainly feels like it is, because of the way the energies that I'm perceiving are. It felt, for me, the day of 8/25, that there was just a very calm and stable foundation that can be built upon now. The extremes, the radicalness of what we were experiencing from the end of July and really throughout the whole summer, really throughout this whole past year, but definitely as we entered that Stargate, it seems like it was just like a rocket taking off and out of the atmosphere, and we're finally getting out into space and away from that gravity, away from that atmosphere that causes us so much friction. And we're just floating. And it's a beautiful sensation, and it's a wonderful sensation. And yes, there's a lot of space debris and space junk out there that we have to avoid as we're going through, that came from the Earth. but but it's getting easier and easier, and I have a feeling that 40 Earth, because 3D is not there anymore. 40 Earth is going to be going through some extreme polarities in September, and those of us who have broken out of the spiritual atmosphere and into these new energies, holding those energies and that calmness is going to be highly required for the benefit of the collective and for Mother Earth this time. I have a feeling September and October are going to be some very, very intense months for persons who are remaining in that 4D state and in that polarity extreme. And they're going to be going through a lot of stuff within their ego and watching the world collapsing, their world that they knew and believed was true, when it's all just an illusion. And right now we're getting ready to create a new illusion. But watching that old one collapse, it's going to get fairly extreme. And it's all because of the energies that the individuals are having to process as they're coming back to center, coming back from the extremes. As you get into the oneness, the light that you hold goes up and out. Goes out. But while you're coming to that point, the more light you hold here, the more opposite influence you have there. Believe me, I went through it. A lot of us have. And this portal, this Stargate, this Antarean conversion, or whatever you want to discuss, call it, that we went through, that is bringing such high energies into 4D Earth right now that there is going to be a huge wave of persons waking up now. I mean, a massive wave. There's going to be people waking up and saying no to the war, no to the conflicts, no to the bankers, no to the taking over of our economic system, no to the enslavement of humanity, no to the legal domination and enslavement of humanity. And these persons are going to be getting extreme as they wake up. And I think that's why so many of us had to go through the Stargate first, so that we could come to the other side and to hold a more stable frequency, a more balanced frequency, not as extreme, not as potent. And I think that's what we're going to see with a lot of what's coming up in September. I think for the collective humanity, it's going to be very extreme. For those of us who have gone through this portal consciously and are attuned to these higher vibrations, we're going to be more stable to override the energies of those persons that are in the state of chaos, that are still playing in 4D. In my last video, I had mentioned Drake and Cobra and other persons by name, and a lot of times my messages come out. I don't think about what I'm saying as I do these messages. It's just a flow, a channeling, if you will. But then that's how you live life in the 5D. You're not playing by intellect. And so a lot of times things just come out, and since you're not thinking about them, when you go back and you review, then you might have some issues with some of the things that came out. There ain't nobody perfect. There's no channeled message that's going to be perfect. But I might not should have mentioned Drake and Cobra, and maybe anybody else for that matter in any point in time. But guys, I'm really grateful for what you do, and for the level that you're helping humanity to wake up and into, and to see, and to expand into, and to consciously open up into. I really, really appreciate that. And if I offended anybody by using names, I apologize for that. Anyway, we're all doing it. All of everybody who is awake and aware and expressing their viewpoints on whatever level that they're expressing them on, I welcome so greatly. Unless we're attacking each other, unless we're not accepting their truths, because everybody's going to have their truths. And New Earth is going to be a flavor of all of us and all the spices we bring into that, and all of the consciousness and dreams that we bring into that. It's a soup, and we each are the ingredients of that soup. And it's going to be a most magnificent soup to witness when we get to that other side. And that soup is a oneness that is made up of all of us individual fragments. There's not going to be a right or wrong. There's not going to be really a good or bad. There's just going to be different expressions of it that adds the individual flavor. And learning to respect each other and learning to accept others' viewpoints and their beliefs, and not to impose ourselves on others, is going to be one of the greatest things that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to learn to be at peace. It's just like this Syrian conflict that's going on the other side of the planet. What business does the United States government have being there? We don't. We don't have any business as being the world's keeper. I mean, that was just a control and domination projection by the bankers that are trying to enslave the population. And they do that by creating fear in everybody, by saying somebody else is wrong, or that they're terrorists, or they should be like us, or we know what's right. And the truth is, you only know what's right for you and for your experience and what you wish to manifest and create. And what you wish to manifest and create is going to be totally different from what I wish to manifest and create. And without having gurus and leaders, and then flocks of people that are following, then we're all freed individuals to manifest that which we wish to manifest freely. And that's what we're going to have to do to have peace on earth. We cannot go into New Earth saying, my way is the way that you need to live by. Me as Bill Ballard, me as Monterey, I wouldn't dare do something like that. I can tell you my path of the experience that I've gone down, but my path cannot be replicated by you. There's only one thing that I know of that is going to be the same in this ascension for everybody in the collective, and that's the shifting of the consciousness from the head to the heart, and to expand their light body, to create their Merkaba, to create the electromagnetic toriad field that is your light body. And that's the only thing that's going to be the same. You can't get there how I got there. The experiences that I have were personal to me. The experiences that you have are going to be personal to you. And we're all going to be totally different. And to understand the greater levels of it, we're all supposed to be different so that we can feed the mind of God, the Akash, so that God can experience all the potential ways of getting there into 5D that we each express in our own journey, in our own life, in our own process of getting there. And so what you're going to feel is going to be totally different than what I have felt. Although, when you do shift that consciousness from the head to the heart, you're going to feel the bliss. And that, there's certain things that are a process, and there's certain things that are a process, and there's certain things that the experience of that process is going to be different with each and every person. And it just cannot be replicated. Anyway, it's so, oh wow, there's a whole flock of V-birds. Looks like flamingos. They're going over the tree and they're ways away, flying in V formation, and I couldn't put a capture on it with this camera, but oh well. Flamingos. I wonder what the totem is for flamingos. Anyway, our processes are very unique, and without that uniqueness, we wouldn't be the flavors being added to that soup to make this wonderful New Earth meal that we're getting ready to sit down and feast upon. What's gonna happen? I don't know. The old system has got to collapse. It's got to do it with economics. It's got to do it with the religions. It's got to do it with the control and domination of the legal system, the UCC system upon the planet. Concepts are going to have to be changed. How is it going to take place? I don't know. But we're watching it happen. All the prophecies that many of us knew were coming to pass are indeed coming to pass now. And it is a most magnificent time to be alive and to be an actor in this play, this theater of Earth School that we're playing out right now. Each and every one of us is an actor on that play, and we're all on stage. But what the next act brings, wow, it's going to be interesting to see, isn't it? Well, anyway, I got some more wild grapes to get into the ground this morning and other chores to do. And I'm so grateful that the energies are finally calming down. I feel this might only be temporary, but I'm certainly enjoying it for now. And so, anyway, hope you are too. Love y'all. Bye for now.